Grandaddys Princess.
A couple weeks ago, my parents and I went to see it out of town, about an hour from where we live. It's a nicer, richer theater chain up that way, and so it was a great place to see the film, since Dad and I had been wanting to see it for months. We had gone to the 10:30 p.m. showing, as close to midnight as we could get. Plus, Dad wanted to see it at night, so it was extra spooky. Afterwards, my parents and I went to the nearby Walmart to pick up cards for my grandfather's birthday. His birthday was in a couple days. And some lemon juice. I don't know why my dad needed lemon juice, but whatever. It's somewhat important to the story. When we entered Walmart, about 12:45 a.m., the place was nearly devoid of life. A few teens roamed in the aisles, and I recognized a woman from our It showing. Other than that, the place was eerily quiet and rather lifeless. Dad sped off to the food section while Mom and I made our way to the cards. She said she and Dad had already gotten cards, so she was going to look at purses while I hunted for a birthday card. I nodded, watched her walk away, and looked at the cards, alone in the aisle. I got the feeling I was being watched and thought it was just because I had seen it and it had set me on edge. I kept expecting Pennywise to meander around the corner and lure me with his smile. Instead, I got something potentially and realistically worse. A man looking in his 40s, though he had the weathered face of a drug user and could have been in his 30s, came into the aisle. I hoped he was just there for a card, would pick what he needed and leave. He said hello, I said hello, and I turned away, pretending to be very immersed in the card selection, hoping that would convey that I wasn't in any mood to talk.
How are you?
He asked. Fine.
What's the occasion, if you don't mind me asking?
I did mind. But what else could I do? Ignore him? I didn't look at him, but out of the corner of my eye, I could see him moving closer. I stepped away. Birthday card from my grandpa.
How old is he gonna be?
82. I picked up a card, pretended to read it, looking in my periphery for my mom. Surely, if she could see me, she'd come back. I know I'm 21, but she said she wouldn't be far away. He whistled, looked me up and down with wide eyes. I felt filthy, dusty, and I wanted to wash my hands just being near him.
I had a grandma. She was 83. I looked after her, you know. We got along real well.
I nodded, still didn't look at him. Yeah.
I took real good care of her.
He stepped closer, leaving only 2 or 3 feet between us. No one else had come by, leaving us alone in the aisle.
I bet your granddaddy loves you.
Uh-huh. He stared at me. I could feel his eyes bore holes through my leggings as he took my thighs in.
I bet your granddaddy's little princess. You're a princess, all right.
Sure, something like that. Why was I still talking? Why was he still here? Where was my mother? I know I shouldn't rely on that, and she won't always be there, but since she was nearby, couldn't she swoop in? We stood in silence for a while, me frantically looking for a nice card, trying to ignore the strange, heavily breathing man standing next to me. Eventually, he spoke again, even though I'm certain my body language was screaming for him to just go away.
What made you decide to cut your hair so short?
He smiled at me when I glanced at him and behind him, looking for my mom. Tired of it being long, I guess. I had read nearly every card on the shelf and picked up one that I liked. I was going to use it as my excuse to leave, but he had stepped closer, and I was looking at the cards just left of mine.
Is that your natural color?
No, but I was beyond caring to be polite. Sure.
Sure is nice.
He stared at me, and I could see his eyes traveling down to my chest.
I like that shirt, too.
Even though part of me was scolding myself for not being nice, the other part of me was trying to formulate an escape route to find either Mom or Dad.
Yeah,
he purred.
That shirt is nice on you. Just the kind of thing a little princess like you needs to wear. Flowers and butterflies, that sweet little girl stuff.
By this time, I was on the cusp of a panic attack. I told him I needed to go, but he insisted he was going to help me find a good card for my granddaddy. I said I was fine. I said I was good, but he persisted, whispering under his breath.
I want to help you. You're so attractive. I'm attracted to you.
That was it. I stepped back, and without looking at him, I said, I'm going to look in the next aisle, okay?
Okay, baby doll.
I sprinted into the next aisle, down it, and through the shoes section, trying to hold back my tears and vomit as I hunted for my parents. When I found my mom, I collapsed into her arms and told her everything. She tried to joke it off, but my panic attack had finally hit me, and I wasn't in the mood to joke. In my mind, I was 2 interactions away from being kidnapped. In my mind, he had already dragged me into his truck and drove away, telling me what a precious little girl I was. I asked Mom if we could leave now, and she texted Dad to hurry his ass up. Dad finally met up with us. Mom relayed what happened, and we checked out and exited the store. Felt as if the man was going to be right behind me, just waiting to grab me. But he was nowhere in the store. Just outside of it. We exited, and there he was, sitting on a bench just outside the door. His eyes lit up, recognizing me, and I immediately hid on the other side of my dad, staring at the ground. I heard him speak.
How are you fine fellas doing tonight?
Oh, you know, at Walmart at 1 o'clock in the morning with a frazzled daughter. Dad waved. Pretty well. Mom took the time to lean around Dad and whisper, Is that him? I nodded and began to shake.
You think you could give me a ride home?
The man asked. Dad looked at me, then Mom, and shook his head. No, I don't think we can.
The gross, rotten velvet purr was back in the man's throat. Oh, come on now. I'm a lot of fun. I'll be good to you. A sharp tone shot through my dad's voice.
No, I don't think so. Good night. We 3 finally made it to the car, and thankfully the man didn't follow. My heart was in my throat, and it was a good 20 minutes before I could speak again. My parents shared a meaningful silence while I sniffled and dried my eyes in the back seat. We all were thinking the same thing. If they hadn't been there, what would have happened? The man had been waiting outside the door. What would he have done to me had I not been able to get away? None of the answers were good ones.
Thank you for listening, my valued guests. If you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to like and subscribe so we may spend many more evenings together. If you have any questions or critiques, please put them in the comments below and follow me on social media, as I truly love interacting with you all. Good night, lovelies. Thank you for listening.